Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's stream. Nice to see you all here in chat, and to have my wonderful players with me. Sadly, tonight Lou cannot make it due to some horrific attack by goblins who left some kind of poison in her chamber, and she didn't check her porridge before eating it. No, she didn't. So sadly, Lou's not with us this week. We hope her a speedy recovery so that she might rejoin us next week for more shenanigans. However, we do have a story to tell, and D&D, well, I was going to say D&D waits for no one, but generally it does, frequently. So we're just happy that we get to play today, I think. Well, I am anyway. Welcome to my wonderful players. You all know them. And I'm glad to see you all here. So let's get started with Jeremy very quickly. Where can people find you, and what are you doing currently?
Yes, you can find me on Twitter and Hive at Jeremy Cobb1. That's Cobb with 2 B's and the number 1. But you can also find me as part of the podcast 3 Black Halflings. That's you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at 3, that's the number 3, Black Halflings. And I also have a brand new show. It's a sci-fi movie review podcast that I'm doing with my buddy Andrew Coons. It's called The Quantum Reactor. We're just about to start releasing episodes next Tuesday, and you can follow us wherever pods are cast, but also on Twitter at Q Reactor Show. We also have a Discord, so if you hit me up, I can add you to the Discord. But yeah, that's what I'm up to.
There you go. And wonderful Laura Bones as moderator, throwing up all those links for you in chat.
Thank you,
A
Laura.
new sci-fi podcast. Ah, interesting. I'm a huge sci-fi fan.
The first episode, I think we talk about Sunshine, 2007 movie, Danny
absolutely.
Boyle.
Cillian Murphy in that role.
Yeah.
Freaky deaky movie, if ever there was one. Right. Next up, Michael. Where can people find you, and what are you doing?
Hello! G'day guys, my name is Mark, I'm the Dead Aussie Gamer. You can find me over on Twitch at twitch.tv/DeadAussieGamer, where I do a bunch of games, not just Dungeons & Dragons, but pretty much whatever tickles my fancy. And as for what we're doing, coming up this Saturday morning / Friday night for the folks in the US, I'm actually going to be doing a charity stream for a charity known as Are You OK, a mental health group, to support just literally taking the time of day to ask the people important to you, are you okay? How are you? Are you doing well? And just being able to voice those feelings and make that normal as part of our lives. So I'm going to be running a game that's very dear to me. It's called Through the Breach, a card-based Weird West cowboy adventure, which will be a lot of fun to play when I'm going to be doing it with some very, very important people, none of which you know how to play the game. So that's going to be a hoot when we get around to trying to figure it all out live. Because only one person gave me that character, and it's on tomorrow.
Through the Breach is a lot of fun, I must admit, but it is very daunting to get into if you are a player. I say this because I've only played Through the Breach with you, Michael, and usually it's a case of, Michael, make a character for me, please. My brain.
Oh yeah, it's definitely got a Michael take the wheel kind of vibe.
Yeah, definitely. Gabe, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you.
And what are you up to recently?
Yes, so I'm Gabe Martini. I am a comic book artist and an illustrator. I actually have I'm participating in a comic book that's actually going into Kickstarter. I think it's soon. I will be tweeting about it and specifically the links to the Kickstarter on my Twitter at The Art of Gabe. And yeah, it's a really fun story that I have there by a wonderful writer. I did the art bit, and it's basically about live streaming your own dreams, which is really wild. But it's fun. And do check my social media. I'll be tweeting the link when it comes out.
Fantastic. Live streaming my own dreams. I'm not sure I would want to watch this.
A bit risky. It's a bit risky, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, fantastic, lovely. And of course, I run stuff on Tuesdays. I do a live 30-minute, you tell me the topics to talk about. We talk about it for 30 minutes. That's on discord.gg/greatgm. And of course, this show every Thursday. So that's what's happening there, which means we get to dive back into our game. Now, last week, if you recall, our intrepid heroes had fought a valiant battle near to their death, or certainly inside a log, which appeared to want to kill everybody except for the enemy. Nonetheless, they had fought this titanic battle on a hill where they had dispatched an ogre and half-ogre and several of his troops, and have managed to secure themselves a half-ogre prisoner along with 2 sleeping guards. Well, that's half of the party. The other half of the party, or the quarter of the party, are on top of a tower of Thornhill Keep in the very centre of Vogler little fishing village, and they have been having a rather curious conversation with a spy who had been sent to send a signal. That spy has been suitably drugged by various narcotics into believing that the person having a conversation with them is on their side. That's where our story picks up. The sun is slowly starting to make its descent into the west as the afternoon sees us joining our characters. And so that brings us to Finnigan and Vannwel. You have the half-ogre trussed up like a rather large carp in a boat, and 2 of their human allies as well. You can hear some very loud shouting coming towards you, and it sounds familiar, if somewhat angry. What are the 2 of you doing?
Ooh. Should we get back to the city? Should we start?
Yeah, I think it's wise to head
to the
back.
town. Yeah. Do we have the 3? Is it the two guards that had slept as well?
2 slumbering guards and the half-ogre that's near death.
So
Yes.
Before we head out, so around because we already had a battle, are there like more like wounded people, or they?
Oh,
like...
yes. Wounded everywhere, slowly starting to cluster, make their way through the trees towards your group. But most of the enemy, those wearing the Istari uniforms for the reenactment, have vanished.
Right.
Okay. Then, oh boy. How many townspeople are still around and able-bodied to move?
So, a quick look around. My goodness. There are hundreds of them.
Can I start trying to rally them? Can I hop atop a horse and start trying to rally them once more and basically give them a quick attention? We have successfully defeated the menace. They have fled. They have retreated. Now is the time to gather up our wounded and gather up our prisoners and bring them as quickly as possible back to the town. Still waving my sword.
There's a ragged cheer that ripples through those that are not leaking too much. And they all kind of nod, and Darrett comes rushing up to you, immediately takes there was an old fallen cart, if you recall, on the battlefield. That's being made into a travois of some kind for the ogre to be lumped onto. And there's general sense of, we won? We won! It's at that point that you are offered the shoulder of a rather tall butcher's lad who offers to carry on his shoulders so that everyone might know where you are at, sir. So we might follow you.
Absolutely.
Not that I'm saying that you're too small, mind. It's just that you're not very. I mean, in the middle of a crowd, it's more like we wouldn't really know where you were.
I put a hand on his shoulder and I say, "I understand. I appreciate it." And then I climb atop and I say, "What's your name, friend?"
A lad, sir.
Come follow me with a lad, sir. Come on! And I start waving my sword.
All right, riding a lad, sir. You start heading towards the village. Vannwel, what are you doing?
I think Vannwel is caught up with like the rallying, so he's like, yes, but also, where is Nudeih? So he's kind of looking around to see if he kind of spots him, but eventually he's just kind of following the mass of people going back to town.
All right. So Marjorie, in this instance, she's just kind of being a little bit more officious, trying to organize people and help out as best she can. It takes you a few moments, but the shouting out of anger gets louder and louder, when suddenly bursting through an old thicket, you see a familiar face. However, on top of Thornhill Keep, you find yourself, dear Nudeih, with this very pliable soldier.
Nudeih is on the wall, you know, kind of very casually sitting down. And have I asked the soldier's name?
Yes, you have. You did. He didn't give it to you. His name is Crad.
Crad.
Private
Crad,
Crad.
do you see out there? Do you see the big large man and the kender that seems to be riding his shoulders? That's my friend there. And
Wait,
look at
is
him.
your friend the one who's on the shoulders, or is the one carrying the little...
on the shoulders, that fellow there. I wish that I was down there so I could tell him that after a war, one shouldn't be held aloft to become target for archers, but there he is, very proudly shouting and rallying everyone.
Yeah. No, archers is not the only thing you should be worried about. They fly.
No, that's very true. That's very true. There are many things to be watching out for. Well, you know, I mean, obviously they're going to come here and have questions, but you know, I mean, just to save us both a little bit of time is, you know, I mean, were you like held hostage? Is this like kind of against your will, or just, you know?
You mean here now? Or...
I mean, you know, obviously you've betrayed the town and hung everyone out for dry, and you know, are part of this army that everyone is, you know, gonna be. I mean, they're pretty mad. Look, you see over there? There's a little cart that's dragging two troll bodies towards us, right? Yeah, these guys, they kill trolls, dude. Like,
technically those are half ogres, or ogres as we like to call them.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, there's no jutting teeth. Yeah, no, that's true. Well, I mean, nonetheless, they've still been felled, and well, I mean, you're not, you know, and I kind of like measure him up. I'm like, you know, maybe from this distance, but you're not quite that big, so you got to have a really good excuse by the time they get here.
I thought, what do you mean by an excuse exactly? I thought you were gonna have my back here.
Oh, I am, but I mean, you've got to have a good reason. I mean, I could have your back in, you know, I mean, maybe you were held hostage. Oh no, what a terrible twist of events. Your family, you know, the one that you have, clearly, it was being held against, you know, your will, and you had no choice in the matter, or, you know, hey, they had medicine for your sick
family. I mean, I won't have one if they kill me, is what you're saying. Okay, yeah, I catch that. I get that.
Yes,
okay.
yeah, you know, like there's, you know, like they, you know, tend to be, you know, very soft and lighthearted on people who are somewhat remorseful of the fact that they, you know, condemn a town to death potentially.
Oh, I'm very sorry I got caught.
Oh, so sorry. I can see it in your eyes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, no, no. I want to see it in your eyes. Try it again. Just say it with me. More convincing, right? Just, I'm very, very sorry. Go. I want to believe it.
He bursts into tears. Great heaving sobs and drool starts pouring down his chin as he breaks down and tells you that it was horrible. They came to his village and took his wife and kids and threatened to slay them if he didn't join up. And he's been forced to follow this giant army of evil rampaging across the continent, just slaughtering, maiming, and killing, and not being paid a very reasonable wage, and only being fed what they could plunder from the larders of every town and village that they've swept through recently.
Absolutely. And even then, it was only what the officers didn't take for themselves. I mean, it's heart-wrenching, heartbreaking. I'm feeling it right here. But now I'm going to punch you.
I
mean, we don't want them to think you gave up too quickly.
Oh, that's a good point. Oh, that's a
okay.
good point. Oh,
All right,
listen, by the way, before you punch me though, so you see that half ogre, that ogre they've got there on that wagon thing?
Yep.
Yeah, they might not want to kill him. He's one of the speaker's favorites. And I think if they did that, then the town would be in real problems. You know what I'm saying?
I'll thank you for that. I'll okay. Because because of that very helpful bit of information. Okay, which is your good side? Is that your left or your right?
Well, everyone always says my good side's the back of my head, so anywhere really.
I like you. All right. Look, when you wake up, we'll have another drink. Okay. And I'm going to pop him one.
All right, you smack him in the face, and he wilts like a terrible, terrible, terrible volunteer actor at the local Actors Association for volunteer actors who meet every Thursday, except on Thursdays. He falls to the floor and lies there unconscious.
Good, excellent. I'll tie him up somewhat,
Right.
and I'll kind of go down the tower to meet the arriving victorious army.
Lovely. All right. Meanwhile, Vannwel and Finnigan, Cudgel is standing, looking heavily wounded, but much more angry than that. Did you take any prisoners?
Yes.
Yes.
Good, because I'm going to kill them, she says as she strides towards the two sleeping men.
Wait, maybe we want to ask them some questions first.
And why stop her? Words don't work. I dive off of Lattice and attempt to tackle her, and I'm like, "Help me, Vannwel!" As I physically attempt to restrain her.
Go ahead and give me an athletics check. Vannwel, are you trying to help?
I think I'm getting closer, but I'm not gonna put a hand on her because she looks very big.
Yeah, this dwarf and heavy plate mail. Vannwel wraps legs and arms, and Cudgel is forced to stop moving forward. I swear to you, wee little man, if you don't let me go right now, you will fear and face the wrath of Cudgel. These traitors, these scum, these bastards, they betrayed me.
Go to sleep. Go to sleep.
Are you trying to strangle me?
Go to sleep. And I'm trying to just put her in a hold and just keep her there and calm her down.
Yeah, let's all calm down for a second. It's been very difficult right now. We need some time. Let's just calm down.
I imagine walking.
That's also for you, Finnigan. Calm down, Finnigan.
I'm just imagining Nudeih
heavily looking at his friend like, what are you talking about? There's all these wounded people just being carried by a guy's got his own arm, and Finnegan's having to restrain a heavily wounded dwarf from killing the prisoners, and you're just chill, bro. Come on.
Chill. No, it's we need to the situation is right here, and we need to bring it down a bit. Right?
Because nothing calms down a really angry person than to tell them to chill.
To calm down.
Although in this instance, with Vannwel trying to, with Finnigan trying to literally choke hold Cudgel, and the ludicrousness of Vannwel trying to bring us down,
just a bit.
Cudgel is absolutely restrained for a few seconds and says up to you, Finnigan, is he always like this?
Yes, he has a very distinct, I guess the best way to describe him is like a bowl of frozen jello. You imagine it might move one day, but it hasn't yet.
Okay.
That bizarre metaphor kind of deflates Cudgel even more, and she relaxes. You can feel her tense posture starting to relax. They betrayed me. That's what hurts them most.
Sorry.
Although I've
Betrayed
never
all
seen
of
that
us.
one before. That's a new ogre. Gregonus was my first lieutenant. You know that?
Oh. I didn't.
Aye.
I'm sorry.
That's why I asked you to dropkick him when you were supposed to be mock battling. It was a joke.
I'm so sorry. You know, if it helps, when they come to, you'll be able to confront them personally.
Aye.
And maybe we can get to the bottom of this.
So when you say that he was your first, that it was how long ago are we talking about?
He's been with me for about 3 years. Joined up as a young recruit, proved himself in battle. Hell, we even got drunk together many, many, many times. I trusted him with my life, and he sent someone to try and kill me this morning.
I'm just gonna turn my sleeper hold into a hug.
Oh.
All right, let's get these bastards back to their village. Figure out what the hell's going on.
All right.
Yeah.
I let her up, and I guess we start to move back towards.
Yep.
Yeah, we're just
The-
heading.
The group makes their way back, and you see Nudeih standing over an unconscious form, waving as you arrive. Marjorie has immediately gone off to go and start managerial processes and writing reports and letters and all kinds of things. And Mayor Raven, also injured, is starting to take the severely wounded there, the slightly wounded there, and Beckwell, the knight, she and Darrett are trying to suss out anybody who could be on guard duty and assigning them to some of the towers around the little fishing village. The tower is really an optimistic word, though. They're literally a little 2-story wooden structure on the end of some very badly maintained fences. Everything is kind of milling about, things along those lines. Cudgel looks to the three of you. Who wants to chat to these folk?
Finnigan looks at Nudeih.
Well, I think, of course, it's going to be good for us to get some information, but, well, a few things have already come to light. First of all, that ogre right there, apparently that is a favored lieutenant within the adversarial army, which, by the by, if anyone knows a person by the name of... what was it again? Yes, Cansaldi Fire Eyes? Does it ring a bell? Anyone? No?
Does it ring a bell?
Anyway,
Can we roll history checks to see if it rings a bell?
It doesn't ring bells to any of you folk, but to Cudgel it does. She looks up. That name has been whispered about quite often, but never in certainty. There's rumors of some kind of organization from the east that have been moving steadily west over the last year, but their purpose seems to be, well, we didn't know exactly what was going on. Consildi Fire Eyes has come up once or twice as the mind behind it all. At least that's what it seems, but we have not known their purpose. If that ogre is part of Consildi Fire Eyes' operation, it'll be good for us to know exactly what that operation is and what its intent is. I mean,
well, I couldn't agree more.
that might explain if she's got some kind of mind-controlling power why Gregonus would switch over. He never seemed to be unhappy with what we were doing. All right, so we don't kill that half-ogre. But the two men next to him and that thing that you found in the tower, what was that doing?
Oh, yes. So this was, turns out there were spies in town. Quite a few of them, maybe, but thankfully I used my invisibility spell to sneak up on this guy unnoticed and managed to get him to shed some pieces of light before I rendered him unconscious, including the signal for the retreat, the horns that were blown, which, I figured far more useful with me going and doing that rather than being turned into a tiny, wizard-shaped hole in the ground from being clobbered by one of these big meatheads.
Did they say where they were retreating?
Oh, yes, right. So they're going back and falling back because apparently there's a bigger army.
What?
And it turns out that this first invasion is just to thin out the militia, anyone who is fighting able, so that the larger army can show up a little later on, while the town is relatively indefensible, and then capture or at least integrate the people of this town as a source of food and resources for the larger army as it continues its advances.
Okay, that's a lot.
Yes, my charm spell worked very well on this guy.
Honestly, it almost feels like we buried the lead on that. There's an invasion?
Oh, yes, right. Consulting Fire Eyes, coming with an invasion, big army, could show up in a day, could show up very soon, yeah. All that. Look,
Right.
I've had I'm sweaty, okay? It's the middle of the day. This is a lot more activity than I thought I was going to do when I set up the hill to go do what was effectively a LARP, okay?
Right. I feel that we need to bring this information to the mayor.
Yes. And
Well-
are there DM, I need to ask, is there any way for us to quickly get word back? Like, I'm envisioning in a perfect world, perhaps, that maybe the mages have people in cities who know sending. So if you are near one of these cities, you could go there and be like, hey, please send this message back so that it can be dispersed amongst all the necessary, you know what I mean? Some way of means of very fast magical communication. Because none of us have it, but I was wondering, is it possible to get word back just to alert? Because this is like now all of China knows you're here. That's what this needs to be.
Yeah.
or even like a raven, because Calaman's not actually that far from Vogler, is it?
It's 40 miles along the river, so it's a bit of a distance. Usually it's a day trip. So, unfortunately, the little fishing village of Vogler, by 1%, lost their mage about a year ago due to boredom. The assigned mage went, there's nothing happening here, I'm going to Calaman. And they never bothered to stop him because, well, they didn't really need to send messages urgently. However, a certain voice pipes in as you are sort of making inquiries as to how one can send messages. And it's a gnome who walks forward. And the gnome doesn't have any whiskers upon their face, but has quite vibrant hair, and is wearing a tabard from the Knights of Solomnia to try and look as if they're part of the reenactment. You didn't see them in battle, and they say, "I couldn't but help over here that you might need some way of communicating with Calaman quite quickly."
Yes.
Yeah, in which case then, I might just offer up something that I've been working on. There's a small risk that it'll set the town on fire, but at the same time, all of Calaman will certainly know your message. Yes?
What was the name of that gnome that created that explosive that almost ignited the town?
Than.
Than. Mm-hmm. I presume you're Than.
My reputation precedes me?
Yes.
That's grand.
Yes, it does.
Hey?
I can
now,
step
Than,
forward and shake his hand very vigorously and say, big fan of your work. Big fan.
Oh, you're going to make me blush now.
I step back so that Nudeih can start addressing him.
No, I'll keep talking while you're vigorously shaking. I'll actually actively try to talk so you're distracted so you don't stop shaking his hand.
Oh,
Now-
okay. I continue. I grab his hand again and start shaking again.
They
Now,
shake it just as much as you do, yes.
Now, Than, it's very imperative that the message get across. Now, when you say potentially set the town on fire, you mean that even if the town was set on fire, that would send enough of a smoke signal or something to get the message across?
That's certainly not the intention, no. And it would need to be the whole town that be on fire. No, this is just the brass crab that would be on fire and possibly liquefied under molten bronze.
Molten bronze.
Well, brass technically, but I don't think it is actually brass. I think it's more bronze. But anyway, Calaman would certainly get your message.
I think so, but I hazard to say that probably the owner of the brass crab might have something to say if it were
That's
to.
why you'd need to talk to Ilme and get her to agree to it. She knows that I've wanted to try it out for a long time, but it's certainly the fastest way to get any news to Calaman. You could rely on one of the lads taking a letter by boat. That's certainly what Mrs. Thornet has been doing. But that takes a good day to get there and a day to get back. It's not like this is an unproven method. We've used it before. Well, in a smaller version. And it worked quite well. Only it only works when, there's cloud cover and there isn't any much today.
Right. Well, I'm game.
Is it possible
I
to
mean-
move the system out of the town?
Oh, no, unfortunately.
Still shaking vigorously.
It does. It does require the brass crab quite specifically because of the brass crab.
Can you actually run us past the idea? How is
Oh, sure.
liquefying?
Oh,
Absolutely.
Look. Before we get into that, let me make this at least put in somewhat perspective. We don't get a message in time to Calaman. Any moment now, it's not going to matter if the brass crab is around or not, because we will have been invaded, and an army of people who probably don't necessarily appreciate property values will likely be in control of it.
We're going to get invaded?
Maybe. Possibly.
Keep shaking.
Yes.
Don't panic.
The answer is yes. I
I
start shaking harder.
Kinda before. This is an interesting experience. How long does this?
As long as we need.
Okay. They continue to shake your hand for as long as you need.
Okay. Let's have a series of chats here. Let's start, of course, with the prisoners so that we can find out whatever information we need. Now, we're going to hope that our little gnomish friend will go and start the preparation to send the message. And perhaps maybe you can ask the owner of the brass crab to lend you assistance on our behest, that this is something for the good of the town, given a potentially oncoming follow-up to the calamity we've already faced. At which point, we'll do what we can and see if we can, I don't know, whatever the course of action should be after we learn everything. Sound good?
I'll raise my hand and say, should I?
You don't have to raise your hand.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought, war council and all.
Still, don't raise your hand at a war council. Just go for it. Just fine.
Oh, okay. All right. I step forward dramatically and I say, I think we should ask Cudgel to help oversee the fortification of the town.
On that note, I agree. I think it's a good idea. But a lot of Cudgel's people were kind of behind this. And, I mean, don't hit me. I'm going to take a step back away from Cudgel. But we don't entirely know if, we've seen spies here, and there are many spies. And I'm not saying that Cudgel is, I would never say Cudgel's a spy, but,
But we don't know, really.
maybe.
I we don't know the size of the army. I don't think fortifying a small fishing town would be
But evacuation
very
could be a
helpful. I
thing,
think
right?
it's more like that.
Can I roll a quick insight on Cudgel while they're talking, just to see how she responds to hearing this?
Sure.
I take a further step back.
You're not sure. She certainly doesn't seem guilty. She just seems furious. And furious
Rightly so.
perhaps at Nudeih for suggesting that she's a traitor, furious at life, furious at everything. She's just an angry person right now.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
but she's not about to commit murder in front of everybody else by the looks of things.
I think I'll take a step back from Cudgel and keep just eyeing her up and down.
So, if you are implying that my boys are disloyal, I'm forced to agree with you, because it would appear that that is the case. Now, our camp is nearly but a mile and a half up that road there. I suspect that's where the bastards retreated to once that horn of your friends was blown. If that's where they are, that's where I'm going. And I'm going to pay each and every single one of them a wee little visit to chat about what loyalty means. Now, given what you've just said, that you think I might myself be some kind of turncoat, as if I could possibly attack the village that Ispin held so dear to his heart, I'm not going to raise to the bait on that one and beat you into a bloody little pulp just to prove that I'm loyal. But I am also going to say I don't want any of you to come with me to the mercenary camp, because what I am going to do there is probably a hangable offence. Now, if I come back, it means that I have found out something, or that they have already left. Because I won't follow them beyond the camp. I'm not stupid. But if I don't come back, well, then you know that there isn't a single loyal mercenary of the Cudgel Ironsides left, and you should kill any single one of them that approaches you. As to building up the town defences, Becklin can handle that. She knows exactly what's going on. She's a smart cookie.
I have a meta question. I hate to do this. I'm asking you as the DM,
Sure.
and you don't have to tell me. It's just, is it possible that we will be growing a level after our next long rest?
There is the distinct possibility that may very well be happening.
Because I imagine that Finnigan has several volumes worth of introductory magic, as well as intermediate magic and some higher level magic spells. And
Right.
he knows that there are magical ways of reading people's minds.
Right.
He's just never tried to learn the spell himself.
For sure.
And if we were to grow a level, I would get access to second level spells. And so that's my question. Essentially,
Yes.
if we grow, because if that's the case, then I would just say, let's keep her here. So until I can learn that spell, and then I will ask her, and then we can ask, or it's fine. Like, I don't, it's just me as a player being like, what can I do to maybe try and either deter, like, rustle up the traitor or clear my friend's name? And that's what I got right now. Because the dice betrayed me.
The dice betrayed me. I hate you, dice. All right. So on that, you did a great battle, and so yes, a level is coming. Whether I personally agree with it or not, it's coming. It's what the adventure module says.
It was
right?
up to if it was up to you, we would be fighting the Dragon Queen at level 3. Okay, so
yes,
just
exactly. So, yes, so that is happening. However, I always mandate you have to have a long rest first. So if you want to try and delay Cudgel, you are welcome to try.
Then I'll say
that-
cut. If it's okay,
Oh,
then I'll just, go ahead. Yeah, you go first.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say real quick. So beforehand, hearing Codgel's plan, Nudeih is going to kind of seem, like pull back a little bit and seems a little ashamed of what he said. He hears Cudgel's resolve in this. And his I guess natural instinct as someone who's very suspicious would be that is what a traitor would say, to go and find themselves like retreating back to the enemy lines and stuff like that. But looking at just how distraught Cudgel is, looking at kind of how the first thing that was said wasn't about like her pride or her army. The first thing she brought up was something that was also very important to Nudeih, which was that this town meant the world to Ispin, and he in that moment saw that it didn't just mean the world to Ispin. It was like one of the last things connecting us all to this person who is very special to all of us. And Nudeih will apologize. He'll say, look, Cudgel, I spoke a little too hasty. I understand today's been all kinds of unfortunate on all sides, and I know what has happened here is impacting you stronger than most. It is not easy to find yourself confronted with people whom you thought were friends suddenly turning on you. Lord knows I've encountered that in my past as well, and your words speak very truly to what I would have done in your position, and I don't think going off right now is the way to go. If this army is coming here, and if whoever remains among your people, among your mercenaries, is still loyal to you, then the only chance that they have is if they believe that their plan here succeeded. If there's any who is unfamiliar with what is going on, then they may simply be dragged along for the ride and maybe tricked and manipulated. The soldier I was speaking to here, the reason he gave me so much information was because he was manipulated in a similar fashion. And, well, if you show up and commit hangable offenses, it may not just be you that faces that, but anyone who is loyal, any other remnants of your loyal followers may suffer at the hand of that as well. But if we bide our time and work together, I'm sure that not only will the people who are responsible be punished, but those who are innocent may be spared a fate like this.
Yeah, you speak the truth, laddie. It's just so frustrating, You think you know people, and the next moment they turn their backs on you. I hope that whatever coerced them to turn was something more than just gold. Anyway.
I too.
The only way to find that out is by, and I kick the prisoners, interrogating them.
Aye. But perhaps the counsel that you do give is wise. Mayhaps we should rest a little, regather our senses so the blood is not pounding in our brains, forcing us to say things we don't want to say.
Why didn't you help our friend send the message to Kalaman, and the three of us will take care of the interrogation for the time being?
I can do that. Thank you. Cudgel leaves the three of you alone.
I think as she starts to leave, I turn to Nudeih and I say, if she's a traitor, she can sabotage. Isn't it better if she stays?
Look, to be honest, I think maybe the gnome's device will likely not work anyway. It's honestly the only place where I can think she couldn't do any more harm than the person undergoing the task. I don't know. I think she's telling the truth. I feel I know when people are trying to get one up on me. And let's be honest here, if Cudgel was against us in that fight, in that war, you know, we would not have been walking out. You know, like I've seen Cudgel firsthand and what she's capable of. And look, truth be told, so many of the townsfolk survived, you know, and I don't think any kind of accident that happened.
Yeah, I'm with Nudeih with this. I feel that this was an actual treachery happening in her army.
Finnigan will look very hard at the pair of them and will say, I hope you know the risks. Because sometimes the people who fight alongside you aren't actually on your side after all. And will sort of look up for a moment and then let his eyes fall on the prisoners very sternly.
Is that a dig at us, Vannwel?
Maybe. I don't know why.
He looks back up and says, no, it wasn't.
Okay.
Okay. To do with
Good.
We're
just checking.
Okay.
Listen, at the end of the day, right now, with everything that's happening and with knowing that there's ties, the only people that we can actually trust is ourselves. Us.
And Marjorie.
So, and well, us. Well, Marjorie's obviously, yeah, us.
She's not here. I mean, yeah, and Marjorie.
Marjorie's rock
And
solid.
Marjorie.
Yes, yeah.
So we should probably keep an eye on that.
All right. Well, who do we want to start with then?
Oh
no, you had something. Go.
Two things. Yes. First, where are we holding the interrogation? We need to find a place. And secondly, coming back to the revelation that we got from Lidara, that we thought that this was going to be nothing, and it turned out to be right. She spoke about other stuff, right? She talked about the evil lord, Soth. So a lot of these things seem to be correct, and what that speaks of is a lot of very bad things are happening right now, not just an army moving to the east.
Okay. Look, I don't disagree with you, Vannwel, but I've said this before and I'll say it again. Sure, the mercenaries betrayed us and they're working for Casaldi Fire Eyes, right? But we don't know that but as far as we know, Casaldi's the one pulling the strings, and Casaldi, last I checked, is not the dread knight Soth, right? Look, I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no, I'm just saying, you know, let's look at a molehill for what a molehill is, okay? I mean, we don't necessarily know what's happening, and, you know, look, I'm gonna just, like, I don't want to I don't want to be the bad guy here, okay? I'm not saying that there is gonna be perhaps, like, maybe, like, this evil villain from our storybooks that'll come to get us, but at the same time, she was covered in mud when she told you all of this. And that's just super weird. And, you know, it's very hard. And when you were trying to commune with her and we couldn't find her, and then you said she started talking to you in your head. Look, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt here, but
I know how it looks.
It looks really weird, man.
I feel there's something that we kind of need to keep in mind, that is something that potentially is happening.
Sure, that I think we can do, but let's focus at one short-term potential catastrophe at a time.
Yeah.
Okay, what say we start with the giant? I think the ogre. I think that would be the best place to do it. And I think in terms of where we should conduct this is, do you reckon we could squeeze him into the fortress? If we don't give him enough room to swing his arms around, even if he breaks the bond, he's not going to really be able to fight very well. Tight spaces.
We should bring some people with us. Maybe some of the guards with spears at his neck.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I'll tell you what, you guys do the heavy lifting, I'll go get some guards, okay? Good. Love you. You're doing a great job.
I'll immediately without even really reacting to that, I'll just start ordering some townspeople to help us bring the guy into the fortress.
That's
And set a few other ones to guard the other prisoners.
that's why I like Finnigan. He gets things done.
Nudeih is a path of least resistance kind of guy.
Yeah. So as you are organizing this, it's not difficult to organize. There are people who are happy to help. It becomes very apparent, though, that the townsfolk, the guards in inverted commas, are not anywhere near guards. Most of them sort of put their wooden swords down when they try and drag the half ogre. There is no coordination. These are fishermen who are playing at being guards. The body is taken up to Thornhill Keep. Yes, Michael.
Oh, I was gonna say I'd definitely grab Lord Baccarus, seeing as he's like one of the only people with an actual good-looking spear.
He's not anywhere near.
Oh, he's not. No, sorry, the Baccarus the young.
Baccarus the younger is also nowhere near.
All right, very well.
And if you make inquiries, no one.
It's a shame Marjorie is not here.
It is a shame that Marjorie's not here. Yes.
Weird. Is Marjorie around? Just as an FYI.
Yeah, she is. Yeah. She's in the Brass
good.
Crab, busy writing a very comprehensive report and damage analysis for the.
Chance that Marjorie would have told Nudeih, "Hey, I found Baccarus the Younger trying to pack up a thing to leave the city for him and his father during the battle." Is there the chance that she would have passed that information along?
50% or above? The answer is yes. 57%. Barely in between the scuffle, the shouting, the fighting, and all of the trauma that's going on, Marjorie did mention that Lord Baccarus had his son load up the boat. I actually think she might have mentioned it, actually. But yes, she mentioned it.
I don't think Nudeih thought anything of it. Nudeih is more just trying to usher her out of the tavern where it could possibly explode and melt to like just a house nearby. It's like, okay, I'm gonna help you with these sheets. You know, it's okay. We're just gonna go over here. Don't ask questions. Just stay here. Okay, bye. I need to go find some guards.
All right.
Yep.
It's very apparent. The village is in a state of distress. There are folks running around trying to tend to the wounded. There are significant numbers of wounded. Some not so much, a scratch here or a cut there, but some have been quite badly treated. And most of the ones that have been very badly treated, as you look at them, are the ones that were wearing the bad chainmail, the crude leather, and that sort of thing. They were the town militia, or at least those that had any kind of military experience. Those were the ones that were hit the hardest. The half-ogre is eventually manhandled up into Thornhill Keep, and Thornhill Keep, I should say, not Thornhill Keep, Thornhill Keep. And in Thornhill Keep, Becklin is too busy running around doing all sorts of other things. They are happy to leave you to run this interrogation. They're not perturbed by your capabilities. They've seen those in action. And so this very large half-ogre, who literally takes up half the room in the base of the tower, is slowly coming around from his wounds as the three of you and four very, very nervous fishermen who are not using wooden sticks anymore. They have gone to the armory, for lack of a better word, and found 4 spears that weren't warped or bent or dull, and they are holding them shakily at the half-ogre.
Should we wake him up?
He's kind of waking up, I think.
Look, the point of this portion of the interrogation is, as he's waking up, he sees imposing people, not discussing whether or not he's actually awake.
Right.
I look at the two of them.
I'll just grab a bucket of water and throw it in his face.
All right,
he's coming
kind
too.
of causes him to splutter, and he immediately kind of tests his bonds and wriggles a little bit.
I take out my sword and put it against his throat, and I say, "That's enough of that."
Oh no!
He stops wriggling,
and then I take a step back, keeping my sword out, and stand behind Nudeih, like flanking him, basically.
All right, well, good morning, or should I say good afternoon, really. We
Yes,
have a few
it has been,
questions. Well, not as good as I think you would have hoped. As I throw the retreat horn onto the floor in front of him.
Oh, I see. Cunning. Should have
Thank
seen
you.
that one. Crab.
Yes, well,
if he's still alive.
well, unfortunately, his fate is going to be far more pleasurable than yours, unless you can answer our questions.
All right. I'll answer your questions. But first, I have a question. Has the Seeker been yet?
No, not yet, anyway. But we're aware that they're on their way.
All right. Ask your questions.
Let's start with Casaldi Fire Eyes.
General.
Rumors whisper of her traveling through these lands, amassing great power and force, but we do not yet know to what purpose. Why is your army on the move?
You have not heard, then. General Casaldi Far Eyes is leading an army across all of Ansalon. It will be united under a single banner. The banner of the dragon. For the last year, the East has put up pathetic resistance. Now the West is under our fist, and soon will bow, just as the Eastern nations have as well. It is inevitable.
Well, if that is indeed the case, then very bizarre choice of heraldry. The dragons are all gone. Dead, dashed, and only remnants of what they used to be remain. Kind of bit fortuitous, wouldn't you say? To name yourselves after a defeated group of scaled, fire-breathing lizards?
You have not seen Consaldi Far Eyes. She is powerful. She has a council. The council are powerful. I would not think that an army that has swept aside the elves so readily, so easily, and that has marched across half of this blasted land, should be so dismissed.
I'll take a look at Vannwel when he says about them sweeping through the Elven lands.
It's time. It's come. It's heading this way.
All right. Next question. You mentioned a council. Do you know who is upon this council?
I'm not privy to that information. I'm just a
Right.
grunt.
Oh, come now, please don't sell yourself short. You were told to me to be one of the favored of your army.
Not of the whole army, merely of the vanguard.
All right. You say that the Seeker is going to arrive. Does the Seeker often arrive within a day, 2 days, 3 days?
You should expect them before sunfall.
I'll look at Finnigan at this point.
You see Finnigan just staring daggers through this dude. His hand is gripping his sword incredibly tightly. His entire body is the tensest you have ever seen it. He's nearly trembling, glaring at this dude.
One final question. And let's just say that your honesty here has been greatly appreciated, and I suppose this will determine what is to become of you. Now that, of course, your army has been somewhat rebuffed for the time being, the Vanguard, and we do have at least some means of protecting this town, at least to a point in which we could potentially render this entire area a void resource, with too many farmers having given their life for their freedom and heroism and stuff. I mean, and I'm going to step slightly aside so that you can see Finnigan's like kind of anger and rage. I'm kind of using that to emphasize how much fight they have left in them. I suppose, what do you do? Or what is your intention? Should we let you go? Would you speak on their behalf and say that this place is not worth taking? Would you continue to march against it, attempting to roil it into this big conglomeration that you're making?
Make no mistake, if Vogler does not bend the knee to the army of the dragon, Vogler will burn to the ground, and everyone who tries to protect it will die alongside. That is not my mission or my intention, however. You allow me to return back to the Vanguard. I'll tell them the town is cooperating. And then all you need to do is supply us with food on a regular basis, moving forward. And everyone gets to carry on breathing. You could slay me now, sure. I would not enjoy the experience. But then you will watch everyone in this village die. I promise you that.
Well, it seems you've spoken truthfully on many occasions.
Don't need to lie.
One truth that you did speak, you will not enjoy if we do find the need to kill you. And I'll look at Vannwel and Finnigan and like gesture that we should like go to the next room and tell the guards to keep their stance firm and keep their spears pointed.
Finnigan doesn't move, actually. As soon as Vannwel and as soon as Vannwel and Nudeih start to move away, Finnigan, still staring, still glaring at this ogre, says, "Killian. Do you know him?"
The ogre looks at you.
In what context? I know many.
Killian. He's a dragon. Do you know him?
Can't say that I do.
Can I insight check that?
Sure.
I hate these dice. So I will stand up and I'll say, I'll walk a little bit closer to him and I'll say, "You've been burning cities and villages in the east. Tell me, what cities have you helped burn?" And at this point, I'm sort of like slowly rotating the sword, creating like a low humming sound, just still glaring it into this dude's eyes.
He leans forward slightly, pulling against his bonds.
All of them.
I think y'all gonna have to restrain Finnigan, unless because I'm killing this dude.
I'll absolutely, yeah.
Roll
So what I'm
initiative
going to
for
do
me,
is,
please, everybody, roll initiative
okay.
for me, please.
The bad rolls have helped you in this case.
Ooh.
I rolled a 5.
Oh man,
All right,
what
I
is
got a
it? And
10.
the dice against you.
I really do not enjoy these dice at all.
No, Vannwel, you are the first to react to the situation, which has suddenly changed quite dramatically.
So is it very obvious that you're gonna basically attack him right now?
Well, I've been walking towards him in a very threatening manner. And then as he said all of them, I think my eyes would widen and I just and start to dive forward, swinging my sword.
Jesus. So I
towards
think
his neck.
Vannwel will just kind of run to Finnigan and try to like restrain him. It's like we need to discuss this. We need to talk. And I'm trying to pull him into the direction of the door.
Go ahead and give me a touch attack. So just a melee attack without.
Yeah. That is a 10.
You kind of clutch at Finnigan, but you won't get hold of Finnigan physically. It doesn't mean your words don't get through to Finnegan's ears, but you can't physically restrain Finnigan. Nudeih?
I'm going to use my dash action as a bonus action to move swiftly in front of Finnigan to interpose myself between. And I'm going to use my hand. And what I'd like to do is take the damage of the sword to my palm as I kind of place it along the arc as it swings.
Oh, wow. Okay. Finnigan, go ahead. Make your attack unless you're going to pull back when you see Nudeih's commitment.
Can I roll like a wisdom save or something to even like
I love it. Yes.
Finnegan's vision has just like it is full of fire and death, and all he sees is this dude's face as he's launching forward. So
Yeah.
let me roll a wisdom
save. Brilliant.
Okay. I'll let you, considering you understand the context of this, is a 12
Sure.
high enough, or should I attack?
Personally, I don't think it is. I think you should attack.
All right. Okay, then I am attacking with my rapier. That's a 24.
Oh, that
Well, that a
hits.
miss. I mean, yeah, no, that'll hit.
That's a resounding hit. Do your damage. All of it. Nudeih, your
it's gonna
arm
be
falls
7.
off.
It's going to be 7 points.
Oof.
All right. I'm going to use a deception check to try and pretend like that didn't freaking hurt.
Go ahead. You have disadvantage because it was almost half your hit points.
Disadvantage? Okay, so that's a 15 chased with a 19. So 15 on my bluff
15.
check.
Nudeih looks as if he just catches it and
It sinks halfway through his hand, and he's just like just gripping the sword.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is mostly for the ogre, not for anyone else.
Right.
So
Multiple bones in his hand have been severed, and he's just like gripping.
Oh
the
yeah,
sword.
absolutely. Like there is definitely nerve damage. You know, like
you watch as part of several fingers just fall loose because there's no longer any tendons holding them. Right?
yeah. I'm gonna need at least 6 months before I can learn to write my name again. Like as
the ogre is I mean the ogre is super impressed. He can't actually hide his impression, but also his what the hell is going on face, right?
The idea that I'm going with here is that I want to impress upon the ogre that the people of this town aren't just some like backwater farmers who are like can not really fight properly. I want to kind of give the impression that there are some pretty strong people who are in this town, and to like have that in mind. So I'll hold on to it firmly, and then look at Finnigan. I want to try and convey with Finnegan's eyes that I know what he's going through and I know what he's feeling. I'm not rejecting what he's saying, but I need him to like take that breath. You know what I mean? And that's what he's doing as I'm holding the blade, still bleeding from the hand. I'm not letting go of my grip, and I'm just like looking at him, not angrily, but like compassionately.
I think Finnigan. Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, Vannwel, what are you doing? Just going back because we are still technically in initiative until until Finnigan says he's.
I think I'm just holding my action, see what happens.
And
very
intense
right now.
Contingency if
If I think if the if Finnigan continues attacking, which I guess because he's being restrained, I guess I'm gonna try and I don't want to attack him, so I think I'm just gonna cast something like Tasha's hideous laughter or something, just to restrain him in a way that doesn't hurt him.
All
If
right,
that
I
kind
like
of
it.
happens.
I like it. Nudeih, you were just holding and you're trying to impress upon him.
Yeah,
Finnigan,
that's it.
it's all yours.
Finnigan, I think, was swinging, didn't even see his own sword strike. His whole body was just moving towards his goal. So the fact that his arm stopped suddenly really threw him off because he expected to see the arc continue, but it just ended. And so even though his energy continued, it's just and so I think he looks, sees his hand not moving, like pushes for a second, hears like a weird sound, looks up and sees like a kind of mangled hand holding on to it, follows, sees Nudeih, and then sees Nudeih's face. And Finnigan is like it, I think it's through his sort of tunnel vision, sort of bursts open, seeing this the look on one of his closest friend, from compassion, this look of compassion, and seeing that he's just injured one of his closest friends as well. I think it's sort of like I sort of lower my sword, not pulling it out because I feel like that might I'm like, we'll take a look at this, and so I just sort of lower it.
Yeah, as that happens, I'll release it, but then I'll clench my fist and I'll look back at the ogre and say, "We'll return," and then look at Finnigan and sort of gesture. Well, not gesture, but you know what I mean. Like we should go.
Yeah, Finnigan is just heavy breathing, like literally shaking, and there's straight up like smoke coming out of his nostrils and mouth. His eyes look like they are on fire with how angry he is. Just
it is actual smoke and the glimmer of flame.
And I point my sword at the ogre and I say, "This town will not fall." And then I'll flick my sword to sort of throw some of the blood off of it and storm out of the room.
Do you guys follow?
Yeah, we're out.
All right. You find yourselves out of Becklin's wine and barrel room, which was in a room that she had available, and back into the quiet living quarters, her humble living quarters. There's a table, some chairs, a nice little stove in the corner that someone has set because the afternoon is dragging on, and the cold.
Is there a wash station?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll start cleaning my wound, because as I do so, I'll be like, "Look, I think with everything that's going on, we need to ask ourselves, what is more important? If we fight this army with no backup, then it's a losing battle. More death will surely follow, and sure enough, this town will fall or be taken. I don't doubt that for a second. But if we take his deal, at the very least, the townsfolk will be spared. And I know you, Finnigan. I knew it from the moment I saw it in your eyes. You won't let this go. And when you won't let this go, we don't let this go." And I'll, after having, wrapped my hand, I'll put it on his shoulders. We're family. Your burden is mine, and mine is yours. It is our way. He will not get away with this. None of them will. Okay?
Finnigan is going to nod and sort of hold out his sword, not into pointing towards you, but sort of lay it across your bandaged hand. And I'm going to use, I think, my final use of the sword to restore 1d8 plus 1, because I think I only have one use left.
Yep.
And I'm going to give him, I'm going to give you some HP here.
Aww.
You regain 7. You regain all of the HP that I cut through.
Almost.
Yay. Amazing. Actually, you restored me 1 hit point, so the 1 damage I took from the big battle is now also restored.
Hey. Yeah, I do that, and then I say, I can't really even bring myself to respond directly to what you've just said. But I think you can see there's like a lump in Finnigan's throat. You can just, even though you can't see it on his throat, you can just see it in his eyes. And all I say is like, thank you.
Vannwel?
We're assuming that what he said was true, right? We don't know for sure that he's going to maintain the village alive. I've seen
From what
what they've done in the East. I've told you before, like he said it, the elves fell, probably not because of them, but trying to defend them. But you all know this is something big that's coming. I doubt that a small fishing village can resist in any way to the force that's coming.
That's true. But we can. I mean, what's come for this village is not just going to come for this village. It's going to come for everywhere in the West. And if they've already moved through the East, they've moved through places that we know well. And we have more of an advantage than the people here. If the goal from what the guard told me was that they were there to fight. They were there to take the fight out of this town, kill the militia, destroy the people who had the ability to fight back. And they seem to have succeeded not as well as I imagined they would have hoped. But from what I saw from walking around town, looking at the tents, seeing all the triage being done, most of the people who had been part of the militia, who wore at least some measure of armor, they're not in a good way. No. And even if we weren't already outnumbered, they do not have it in them. The only people that do are, well, us 3 in this room, and maybe Cudgel, Becklin, and Marjorie. If we're here when they arrive, they will likely either make an example of us, or worse still, make an example of the village. If we allow this ogre to return, however, we can spare the village.
And then subject them to serve the army?
We can evacuate.
I think all that would do is leave those who cannot travel and those who are injured in a way that, well, honestly, I think we are damned if we do, damned if we don't. But if we fight against them ourselves, at the very least we can try to make sure that the state of them being in servitude won't be for long. That we would be able to free them from this army once we get to the head of this so-called, well, council. Hopefully get some support from the other mages of high sorcery. Hell, even rally some of the Knights of Solemnia, maybe, and do something about it. But there's no need to shed the blood of these fishermen to do so.
I feel that we shouldn't be deciding on the future of this town. We should potentially talk to the mayor, talk to people that actually live here, and have them decide.
With the knowledge that it's coming today.
Yes.
We have to move quickly. They have enough boats. This is a fishing town. If we need to evacuate, I think we might be able to. And it's only a day trip to the next town. Yes. We might be able to get away. And at the very least, they'll be delayed investigating the town.
And I'm sure that Kalaman can take them.
And surely there's someone in Kalaman who can send a message to the mages and the knights.
I don't disagree with any of this. And I don't want to be the guy to say this because, look, I know what it's like to be resources. Everything has a purpose. Everything costs something. Everything has value. Okay? A night with a beautiful woman costs you money. A incident like this with this town, what they've sacrificed, that's costed them. While the townsfolk are here, they have purpose and they have value. The people who are coming for them are equally likely to protect them while they are here and doing what they need to in order to maintain the army. If they're on the run and they get caught, they have no value out there. There is nothing stopping that army from wiping them out. And if they spend time here in Vogler, ensuring that everything's going well, that the resources are moving back and forth and the trade is working, we also buy time for Kalaman.
Let's let the people decide.
Agreed.
I agree.
Finnigan is going to, I guess, start striding purposefully out, because I think priority number one has to be letting the townspeople decide what the next overall move is going to be.
Yeah. And I think I'd go get Marjorie as well, even though, of course, Marjorie's not here. I wouldn't want her to not have a say and all that.
Yeah. And I think Van is just going with Finnigan because it's kind of the same sort of way of thinking, I think, that we have. I think Van sees that kind of resisting an army. He sees what happened to the elves when they tried to resist, because really what happened with the elves was not that were decimated by the army, but just the effort of trying to resist them completely destroyed the place. So I think he's pretty much that it's better just to like run and leave and save as much people as they can.
All right. Just
And Nudeih is all about survival. So it's like, for him, it's like, if we run, we might die. If we fight, we might die. If we stay and we make food, they'll live. And that's the only equation Nudeih's seeing.
Yeah.
Gabe, wouldn't you just very quickly recant for the viewers out there just what did happen to the elves in broad strokes?
Right. So I think what happened was there was the army. I don't know if it's the same army or it's like different operations of like different armies, but it came into Sylvanasti, which is the capital of where the High Elves used to be. I think the book has it like fairly broad as well, but apparently the leader, which I don't remember the name right now.
That's right. Just the leader of the High Elves.
The real leader of the High Elves try to use something to like protect it, but in trying to use that, kind of the magic kind of way went like wrong, and then it kind of transformed Sylvanesti into like a hellish forest, basically decimating anyone that was there. It's just like a haunted place where like everything is just wrong inside. And then the elves kind of migrated to the west to where the other elves that were living.
The Qualinesti. As well as fracturing and splintering in various different directions.
Yes, I think some also moved to like the north and to like further out west, like the islands.
Correct. When your leader says, "I shall save us," and in actual fact dooms the entire species, faith in the leadership was definitely broken. Yeah, causing the peoples to scatter.
There is something that's happening though as well, which is really important, is that in general the elves are not discussing very openly that basically Sylvanesti fell. So it's like a lot of people don't know that this happened. It's not a fact. They're keeping really under wraps because of the implications.
Correct. The failure of the elves. Nonetheless, the three of you make your way through to the center of the town, which is at the moment a triage, a hospital, a place of recuperation, and unfortunately also a morgue, as soldiers are not surviving the wounds inflicted upon them by the traitors. You find Mayor Raven in consultation with Becklin and with Cudgel, and a young Darrett looking to assist in however he can. As you approach, the mayor turns to the three of you. Have you had any success in interrogating the prisoners?
Yes.
Which is why we have come to you with quite a well, rather a dire series of proposals. You see, the army that attacked is not the only one. There's a larger force making its way here now, or should I say, a speaker on behalf of that army is arriving. Their plan was to cripple the town from any chance of fighting back in order to turn it into a source of food for the coming invasion that is heading in from the east.
When you say
Now-
source of food, you mean they're going to feast upon the townsfolk?
No. Just they'll more force the townsfolk to use their fishing resources to further fuel
They plan
them.
to feast upon the bizarre creatures you call fish.
Yes, these fish that you've harvested.
And if we provide them with supplies, they'll leave us alone?
From our understanding, yes.
We don't
As
really
long as
know.
there is no... Sorry.
Which we don't really know.
You would be
That-
we
taking
don't.
their word for it. As far
And
as I
that
can
word
tell,
means nothing.
they
says
would be,
Cudgel.
and I nod at Cudgel and I say, as far as we can tell, they would essentially be an occupying army, using you as nothing more than a supply station. It's impossible for me to imagine that they would not station a segment of their forces here to oversee you and to potentially garrison the village against any further attacks. But you would essentially be helping to support their invasion of the entire western region.
Cudgel kind of brushes back her graying hair. Well, what other option do we have? I mean, are you saying that we should abandon Vogler?
Finnigan looks at Vannwel and says, that is what the two of us think. You have enough boats here to load the entire town onto them, and all you have to do is get down to Calumet. If you can get away from here and get to slightly better fortifications, we can give better medical attention in the city, as well as potentially contact the Knights of Solamnia and the mages of high sorcery and alert them to the situation and perhaps even mobilize some troops.
Do you think we have enough time? I mean, do we know when this army is going to arrive?
No,
Their
we just
speaker
know
will
that-
arrive by sundown.
I have a proposal.
Everyone sort of looks. Then they look at you.
Send us as emissaries on behalf of the town to meet the Seeker outside of the bounds of the town. We will interact with the Seeker, buying you enough time to continue patching up as many wounds and preparing as many boats as possible, and leaving. Take as many supplies with you. Do not let them feast upon the fish that you leave behind. And while we speak to the speaker, the rest of you can escape and slip away. Presumably, the army will not be accompanying the speaker. And if that is the case, the speaker would then have to travel back all the way to the army, let them know there could be hours and hours of time.
Well, that does make sense. The army certainly won't be in readiness to move instantly.
Not
as big as
they
they
say.
This is not a small army. They destroy capital cities. They invade. They consume. What happens if you do agree to help them out and give them food? What happened when they're like continuing moving forward? When are they gonna just bleed Vogler dry? What's gonna happen then? I agree with Finnigan. This is maybe the best option of saving all of the people in the town.
Yet you
The town can be rebuilt.
Nudeih.
I do. I think only of Vogler's survival, the people here. With no resources to gather from the town, whether it be because it's abandoned or not, will not stop this army from advancing forward. Quite the contrary, it will force them to double their efforts to try and find a source of food. This could put pressure on Calaman, and from what we understand, they have plenty force to take it if they should try. I think that Vogula's occupation offers a small but important opportunity to fight back and be able to make a difference. If we loaded up, say, the infirm, the children, and those who, well, quite frankly, can't fish, into boats and evacuate them to Calaman, leaving behind the people who are stalwart and strong, it means that the army would need to take time to establish proper trade, proper resource management, and as they say, it would also garrison the people here. If the army catches anyone outside, there is no purpose for them. There is no resources. They would either be slain on the spot or simply enslaved elsewhere. By, at least for the time being, following their plans, we buy time for Calaman to be able to rally, for the Knights of Solemnia to be able to rally, and for those such as ourselves to be able to potentially act against those forces and repel them back before their advancement continues. I don't disagree that both Finnigan and Vannwel suggestions will, of course, mean that you stay free, but my concern is that the army will make sure that that freedom is not long-lived. And the mercy that you would experience for having, at least for the most part, a purpose to their army would no longer protect the people of this town. What do you think? Sorry, I fell off my chair.
Oh no! I wonder what happened to. I think Finnigan just disagrees with you. He's like, "No, I'm out."
Oh no, I'm out of here. Peace. Hold on, I can help a little bit. Let me just.
Give me a second here, folks. I don't know what's happened. I'm
No,
sure.
I got you. I got you.
Technical
guy, don't worry.
issues, like always.
I got you a little. Let me just do this. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Okay.
Look at you, Mr. I have experience with live streams and so can just join with another stream. Oh, he's back.
He's back.
Maybe.
Sorry, I'm back. My internet cut out, so I ran to go get my phone so I could let you know.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, you didn't miss. Did you miss the last piece of Nudeih's very compelling speech to stand and fight?
It wasn't stand and fight. It was take a knee.
Take a knee.
I did unfortunately miss the last part of it. It was a good. I didn't want to leave because I was like, oh no, what if I come back? But I was like, I gotta let him know at least. But yeah,
that.
I missed the last part of the speech.
Okay. In short, if we evacuate people who wouldn't be a resource to the army, such as children, people who are old or injured and stuff like that, they won't care. They won't pursue them. They won't do anything. But if we leave them with fishermen, they have to establish things here. It'll take time for them to do that, giving us time to rally Calaman, the Knights of Solemnia, and other people to fight back. If we don't have anyone here, it's not going to stop them, and they're just going to keep moving forward in more desperation to get that food that they need. Which could either affect surrounding towns or even Calaman itself if they're desperate enough. I think any freedom we would gain from retreating right now would only be short-lived. And as Vannwel even said, they will likely build a garrison here, which means you will, at least for whatever cost, be protected from this war and the oncoming battle while they are here, because you'll be in their territory.
We shall have to vote on this matter. As mayor, I speak for the people, but with council. thank you for what you have done thus far in trying to get us as much information as possible. I do feel that perhaps in treating with this seeker or speaker or whatever the hell they're called before they arrive at the village may actually help either way to present a slightly more unified approach and prevent them from gathering valuable intel as to what the state of the village is in. So perhaps that should be your focus whilst I speak with the council. I appreciate the fact that you are giving me options. It is not usual that I get so balanced views on both points. I will let you know as soon as I can. Cudgel turns to the two of you as the mayor leaves. You still want me to stay here? Not go and see what's happened to my camp?
I turn to the others and I say, I think it would be best.
I think the same. It's pretty much the exact same thing as with the townsfolk. So long as those who are maybe loyal to you, are still being convinced that what they're doing is right, then, at least for now, staying here is the best option. It would, of course, be very opportune if you did have loyal members among your people, if you rallied them during any kind of skirmish that we may have. It may be a very opportune moment to twist the tides against them, especially if they falsely believe in your early experiment.
That might work. All right, I'll see what I can do. The half-ogre is still alive, is it?
For now. In fact, I was actually going to talk to you, well, everyone about this, really. If we're going to go speak with the Seeker, we're going to have to make it worth their while to postpone the decision. And I think perhaps our hostage may be a good boon to earn us at least a day extra. Now, Finnigan, I know that
Can I talk
this is
to
not what
him
you want.
again? I need to talk to him again. If one of you wants, you can hold on to my sword. I need to speak to him one more time.
We can, yes, that's perfectly fine. But
Under supervision, yes.
yeah. But I think that's the game plan, at least at the moment. Marjorie, maybe go with the mayor, see if you can offer some counsel if any of the other townsfolk become a bit too pushy. And Cudgel should probably go as well and make sure that, if things do get out of hand, that at least there's a good, strong voice of reason there.
Becklin raises her gauntleted hand. By the sounds of things, either we're going to capitulate or we're going to flee. Either way, I think Darrett and I should probably stop trying to look at fixing fences and rather look at getting boats ready. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. And chances are, if actually, Becklin, if you and Darrett can perhaps also act as the emissaries, one way or another, I think sending people to Calaman is going to be equally as important to let everyone know what is going on, so that Calaman can be ready. When the evacuation goes out, it'll fall upon you to protect them out on the river.
Well, let's take it one step at a time. Let's just make sure we can actually leave this fishing village. Fishing boats, there might be, but there are
ferry
over
as well.
250 people here. Yes, the ferry is due to arrive this evening on its last trip. So if we're going to decide, we need to decide soon. Otherwise, that ship's not coming back.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see what we can do. Come on, Darrett. Yes, ma'am. They leave. Do you head back up to Thornhill Keep to chat with the ogre one last time? Oh,
I'm going to get
That's where Finnigan was
freaking
going.
drink before I do. I'm going to go to the pub.
all right.
And if there's no one there, I'm just going to serve myself. But,
No,
I'm going to...
Ilme is there, and you can see the pub has got all manner of bunting and a big poster that has paint all over it saying Happy Kingfisher Day. and it's half hanging in the mud now as it's been forgotten about due to what has taken place. She is busy fixing rather pungent smelling hot drinks. It looks like a herbal tea that's being infused into brandy or something along those lines, effectively making hot toddies for everybody as she is trying her best. When you approach, she will happily give you a drink of any kind.
I'll drink one there and then, like super quick, and then order 3, one for all of us.
You're not the first to come through and do that. So, you should know, by the way, that gnome, she's got approval to do the thing that they do. Well, in terms of communication. So the bar will be closing just before sunset. All right?
Yep. Thanks for that. Maybe another one for the road. And I'll take my second drink, and then I'll take 3 of them, and I'll put a gold coin on the table. I'm just gonna put a full gold.
A rock star.
And then I will head back out and bring a beverage to my comrades.
Comrades.
Right.
So,
we needed
Finnigan,
this.
are you waiting for Nudeih to return with his
No.
trade? No, you're just marching straight up to Thornhill Keep.
Yeah.
All right. Vannwel, are you following Finnigan or Nudeih?
So I think that initially Van was gonna stay around and just kind of help out with like the people that were around whilst Nudeih was doing this thing. But as soon as he sees that Finnigan is heading directly back to the keep, he doesn't want Finnigan to be alone with the half orc, so he is tagging along.
All right. You arrive at the half ogre a few minutes before Nudeih. What are you doing? The fishermen soldiers, as you approach, all look very relieved.
I give them just a nod without even really looking at them. Walk through. At this point, I think what I would do is I would take my sword off
Please.
and just hand it to Vannwel. And then as I enter the chamber with the half ogre, I would say in Draconic,
Ooh.
do you speak the mother tongue?
He looks at you. You can see his mind is thinking. I wish I could give you my dice. I really wish I could give you my dice, Jeremy. He responds back in flawless Draconic.
You speak the tongue.
I say, I do. And I have a name for you. Vergatorix. Who
What
is
do
that?
you know of that name?
I would say a great dragon statue spoke it to me. It looked directly at me and spoke it to me. And then it said, traitor, as in Trecorix. Well, of course, none of this would be in common, so all this is in Draconic.
You are confusing, little creature. You would strike me down out of your anger, and then you speak of politics that no one should know of. I will exchange my life for that information.
I look I look down for a moment and say, what do you mean?
Clearly you and others wish me dead. But you also know this name and want to know more.
Yes.
I saw your nose and eyes when you were leaving. Swear I live, not with treachery of allowing your companions to slay me. Let me live, and I will tell you of the traitor.
I think very hard to myself, and then I say, if you tell me of the traitor, I swear to you that I will do everything in my power to prevent you from being slain while you are our prisoner.
Vannwel, what are you doing? Because they're literally going grach shahag brargaravi.
Would Vannwel know that this is Draconic,
Go
even though
ahead
he doesn't
and
understand it?
go ahead and give me a history check.
See, nope.
They could be speaking ogre, as far as you know.
Right. I think Van is just sitting and wondering. There's a lot of conversation happening, but they are very much having that conversation. So I think there's gonna be questions afterwards. But yeah, I think he's just kind of standing and kind of taking care that if Finnigan is not gonna assault the dude again.
Sure. Nudeih, it's at this point that you arrive back into the keep.
He walks into the keep and sees Vannwel first. He sort of has a drink, and he sort of like hands it over, and he says,
Thank you.
that was full when I started. And I am going to hand him like an empty, a sort of a half-empty mug.
Half empty. That's enough for my size. What language is that? I didn't know that Finnigan spoke that, and he kind of just.
I'm gonna make a history check just so that I can circumvent it, but otherwise the question no. So the other question is would Finnigan have told Nudeih that he spoke that at any point?
I think that both of them might have known theoretically that Finnigan had been studying other languages, because Finnigan spent like the past year learning, I believe, both Draconic and Elvish.
Oh, right. Okay.
And so you might actually know, because Finnegan's usually pretty open about that kind of stuff.
Did I teach you sign language? I can't remember. I know we spoke about.
No, you were trying.
Yeah, you're
right,
trying to
so-
teach me. Yeah, is it sign thieves can't essentially, or sign
Yeah, well,
language, as it
basically,
is?
yeah, we're basically reworking it. So instead of having learned thieves' cant, my character learned sign language.
Okay.
Could I say
Cranian
that
sign
I've
language, KSL?
yeah? Could I say that because we are teaching each other this, that I have enough to like have the conversation of "Are you okay?" and then have him say yes or no if need be.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's what I'll sign over to you quietly. So obviously, because I don't want to interrupt your thing, I'll sign like you okay.
I would look at you and very quickly sign yes.
Okay. I'll then try to ease Vannwel and say no, he's fine. He's just he's having a conversation. He's learned a lot of languages recently. A lot of time spent in the library with words. Sorry, just it's been a really long morning.
It's still the morning. Yes, it's been a very long.
Still the morning. It's like it's not even lunchtime. Haven't even had
it is afternoon. It is
afternoon.
It is actually quite
How deep in the
mean,
afternoon?
still.
Getting towards sunset.
Okay, fine.
Oh, okay,
Even a long
right.
day in general.
The ogre looks at you, Finnigan.
I don't know all the details, but I do know that Consaldi Fire Eyes was not the original general of the army. She was a replacement. There was a leader who was great. He was wise, but he was not willing to slay indiscriminately. There was a battle where there were survivors. The army could not support them, and yet letting them live was not an option either. The general, the one whose name you speak, decided to let them go free.
Where was the battle?
It happened in a skirmish more to the south than here. When he allowed a contingent to go, Consoldi was his lieutenant. She challenged everything. After a while, he was brought before the council and expelled. They felt he was no longer worthy of leadership. He showed too much compassion, did not embody the name of the dragon. I believe it was somewhere near Kaelin to the south.
Let me just check my map here. I'm trying to see where on the map this is.
Kaelin is to
Kaelin.
the
Okay, I
south
see it.
of
Yeah.
Solomnia, near the Kenda territories.
Yes. Okay. I look very thoughtful and I say, and this general, his name was Vergatorix.
That was one of the names he was known by, yes.
What were some of the others?
I am not sure of all of them. I wasn't yet in my position. I was just a soldier at the time. I know he was popular, and he had several names, one of which he used to have a joke that he had pretended to be something he was not. Half Pint, I think he used to be called.
I think anyone looking at Finnigan would see like he sits up straighter and begins to like I think as he raises a hand to his mouth, I think the hand trembles slightly. And then he closes his eyes and then opens them again and he says, "What kind of dragon was he? What color?"
As he's about to answer you, there is a sharp blast of a horn from outside, and Darrett bursts in through the side door. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I believe that the Seeker is coming. There's a small contingent on the south road, on the north road. I think it's them.
We need to go. Finnigan,
right.
we need to go.
I'll stand up. I'll like, yes, and I'll look at the guards and say, "Keep him alive. Do not let him escape."
No, we need to bring him with us.
And I have this shudder and like, and I say one word: "What color?"
We're going to pick it up
Draconic?
next week, folks, when we return.
Oh,
Ooh.
As we're close enough to our time that I'll leave it there, as things are going to happen, and I'd like Marjorie.
and I would have
to be
said
part
that
of
in Draconic, by the way. I would have said
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So there's very intense conversation going on. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in and watching us tonight. I just want to say thanks to my players. What amazing role-playing it has been this evening. Just super, super, super cool, super exciting stuff. I know there was no combat, but I don't think that we needed any combat. There was just a lot
took
of
damage.
revelation. You took damage. That's true. That's true. Yes. Yes. Chat was just saying some amazing role playing going on. 10 out of 10 role playing. And then a lovely comment saying that when poor old Finnigan failed his insight check, instead of doing what normal, or at least what regular players seem to do, of saying, well, I still don't trust him even though I failed my roll, he just moved on and rolled with the punches. So big shout out there. Anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everyone is doing an amazing game here this evening. I really enjoyed it. I'm literally just sitting here going, "Ooh, oh, I can't wait! Oh, it's so exciting! What's gonna happen next? What's gonna happen there? What's gonna happen there?" Anyway, just quickly, since we've got a few moments, Vannwel, or should I say Gabe, what was a bit of a highlight from today's game?
Ooh, highlight. I really like the moment when Finnigan got into like a complete blackout rage and attacked. And then I really like that Nudeih intercepted the punch. That was really amazing. Really enjoyed that.
That was super cool. That was super cool. Nudeih?
Well, first of all, I would I was like prepared to die just then, like when he swung his sword. I was like,
That's a nat
I
20.
do not have hit points. But I think my high is the fact that our members of the group were divided on what we should do, but it wasn't a case of like, I don't think anyone felt like their voices weren't heard, and I think even once we had our discussions of the back and forth, having that moment at the very end where we were like, okay, cool, so what are our stances? And then we put them out and said, cool, we're going to present this to the village and see what's going. And it just shows how much we trust each other, that ultimately, no one sat there and went like, oh, that's a dumb idea, or you know what I mean? Like, we didn't really get in each other's faces about that. And I think that's given that the characters are really close, and that makes sense for them. The fact that we as players were able to do that as well just goes to show just how awesome and skilled my fellow storytellers are, sharing this space with each other and getting to do that. So that was a very, very big high for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Jeremy?
First of all, I agree with both of the things that have been brought up so far. I think those were both great moments, and great elements as well. And I think the one that jumped out to me the most was when Nudeih explicitly said that him and Finnigan were family, because I think with how Nudeih's personality is, he likes to kind of play it real cool and not be one for overt, sincere sentiment. And I think for both me as the player and for Finnigan, it was like a really sort of moment. Like, you mean it? So
I would have flipped around very quickly, and he would have been like, no.
No! Start attacking. Yeah, I thought that was great. It was great to see a side of Nudeih that he normally keeps kind of his veneer of cool, in control, confidence. So I thought that was really cool, and it brought something different out of Finnigan as well. So I thought that was really nice.
Lovely, folks. Thank you again. Thank you for watching. Yes.
What about you? What was your highlight moment?
I don't know. There's so many. I love it when players don't just kill things straight away and they start to talk to them. I love the fact that Finnigan has a secret, has the chance to learn that secret, and I'm curious to see how far he'll go to get that information. And I love that. I like that there's also, it's not just ignoring the party. There is an emotional requirement there. It's not just I'm ticking a box type of thing. But yeah, Nudeih, the going to the pub just to get a drink, I think, yes, it's like, I wanted to be there with you going, yeah, I need a drink too. This has been really tough for the NPCs, right? This is a tough time. But also just the way that Vannwel is kind of stuck between these two very powerful voices, and is just trying to bring some reason to the whole thing, but in a very kind of innocent way as well. I love it. I think the dynamic is really, really cool. I would have loved to have seen what Marjorie did, so hopefully Lou is with us next week, and we can take it from there. So, but again, this is the joy for me, is that none of this is scripted. This is not an adventure. This is just you guys making this happen. And I think it's absolutely awesome. So there we go. Massive thank you to Laura Burns for being our moderator in chat and sharing up all of the relevant links. A big thank you to you. And until next week when we return for more, I wish you and yours the happiest of gaming. Goodbye.
Bye.